In March of this year, I made a video about a console killer build, a build that I knew was going to beat the PlayStation 5. If you look at the chart that I put together, the spreadsheet, you can see that the components and what you would need to build a PC was less than what you would need to actually spend on your PlayStation 5, including your subscription cost and the extra cost of games, which is basically a premium more than what you pay on PC. As of today, this price in terms of, or the prices in terms of the components have pretty much been reduced, and now you can build the same build for about $630. What's even better is shout out to Daniel Owen, fellow teacher and YouTuber, and Big Bro Jace 2 Cents. They've also engaged in building or at least recommending console killer builds. Jay built this particular build, put the components together, and in case of Daniel, he did a hypothetical build talking about the components. So now the big name YouTubers are starting to basically build builds that are similar to the one that I built for you guys in March of this year. I feel vindicated because I remember there was a lot of dragging going on and a lot of ignorance going on. And I don't mean to say it from a, tone that is not sensitive to the fact that people just may not know. But another thing is a lot of people were very confident in making assertions that they knew nothing about. I still see people with influence, even on social media, on Twitter, on YouTube, saying things like you need about $1,000 to build a gaming PC that will give you the same experience as a PlayStation 5 or Series X. To that, I say that's a big lie. You don't need to spend $1,000, around $700, even less, $650, $630. You can get the job done because now all of the data is available. We know what is inside of the PS5. We know what is inside of the Xbox Series X. So in fact, if you need a good benchmark, you don't even need to bother. You can just take the Series X kit that Digital Foundry basically got their hands on, and you can take specs and build accordingly, and you will be just fine. So what's going on here? I see a lot of people say, don't compare the PS5 to a PC. Don't compare the PC to a PS5 Pro, all of these things. And I say absolutely do, because the PlayStation 5 and the PCs these days are supposed to be in competition. Sony's PlayStation and even Microsoft Xbox have pretty much tried to market to their audiences that they can give you what PC has been giving you all this while, which is better performance. In fact, when Mark Cerny did his presentation, he said gamers being actually given the choice of fidelity and performance modes, it was found out that a good amount of gamers were picking performance modes in their gameplay. Well, which means most of them are interested in getting higher frame rates. And if they're interested in getting higher frame rates, the best place for them to be able to go and do so is to go on the gaming PC. Now, when you think about, say, the conversations going on nowadays, after we've seen the PS5 Pro, a lot of people are asking, how about GTA 6? Is it going to run at 60 FPS on the PS5 Pro? The answer to that is I don't know, and no one knows. And I'm not going to sit here and stake my claim or say, oh, because Digital Foundry said something, I'm going to take it as gospel, because even they themselves have said they don't know. Remember, whenever they give you any estimates, they still go ahead and tag it with it's not certain, because it's not certain. But here's the thing. If you buy a PlayStation 5 Pro, and it happens to be that the GTA 6 game, did I say GTA 5? I meant to say GTA 6. That GTA 6 cannot play at 60 FPS. What are you going to do? You're going to be stuck with that paradigm for the most part. But on the PC, there's no way you're going to be stuck, because you can spend about $20, upgrade your CPU, and you'll be fine, because the GPU that I recommend is going to play anything at 1080p at 60 FPS. It's a 6750 XT, 12 gigs of VRAM. That's insane. If that GPU, especially in today's day and age where it can support FSR 2, FSR 3, the game must be really bad and buggy if that's the case. I'm just letting you guys know. So seeing Jace 2 Cents actually dial in and show some more deep examples by highlighting Cyberpunk 2077 and comparing it to what you'll get on the PS5, and even showing that if you went full ray tracing and given, say higher parameters, raw raster power and stuff, you can see that this PC is already better than what you're going to get. Now, some of the FPS you'll see is when they went, full raw 1440, but you can't get that kind of performance on a PlayStation 5, nor can you easily get that on a PS5 Pro for a game like Cyberpunk 2077. It ain't going to happen. And so I really like the fact that a lot of people are actually taking the time to point out these things. Even Daniel Owen, after doing the $700 build, he did a build that you can use to actually beat the PS5 Pro with certainty by adding, say, the disk drive that you're going to buy. Just a lot of really good stuff here. And by the way, this gentleman is a math teacher, so it's actually pretty cool, because the way he actually analyzes stuff, he'll throw numbers in there. And I really like his approach. And so at the end of the day, when I see people actually make some of these concerns, known, I really have to say, man, we need to jump in where we actually have more in terms of knowledge as to how these things work. Another aspect of this conversation is I see some PC players saying that builds like this they will not recommend. And to that I say that is a wonderful or fantastical statement, depending on how you put it, because a lot of the components that I've actually championed and many of these folk are now saying and recommending are builds that 1-2 years ago were heralded as some of the best value to performance items in terms of how you could build a gaming PC. And what many people are not necessarily paying attention to in the conversation is game developers are still yet to actually meet these hardware specs on the higher level. They're still requiring really low hardware specs for their games. For example, if you look through the games that are on Xbox that are available on Steam or Game Pass and look at the PC requirements, you're going to be very surprised that these games are not asking you for much in terms of what kind of hardware you need. If we go through PlayStation's library and look at maybe even a game like Ghost of Tsushima or whatever it is, a lot of you will say, well, these are PlayStation 4 games. Exactly the point. Even the PlayStation 5 games like Ratchet and Clank, those games are still not requiring a lot in terms of hardware performance. I've done these videos for the longest time just to tell you that PlayStation is over here marketing, in quote, better hardware when you can actually play Ratchet and Clank with a GTX 960, with a Ryzen 3 3100. I even played a video where somebody actually put the build together and were able to get respectable performance from it. So if they're still asking you to use this old hardware, then what I'm basically building, or whatever everyone is suggesting, is pretty much a supercomputer when you actually compare it to some of these builds that they're requesting you to actually, put into perspective. So it's just funny overall to see people actually think that somewhere, somehow, on on this whole gaming journey, that somehow your hardware is going to be easily outdated. That's not necessarily the case. It's your contentment that needs to stay updated for the most part. A lot of people like the latest and greatest and newest and the shiny, so it's easy for them to get carried away whenever new products come out and they start running and chasing after those products. Another thing too is the Steam hardware survey. Steam is a platform, so they give developers as much tools as they possibly legally can. So this hardware survey is something that really, I think, influences games when they're being developed. Now, I'm a wannabe game developer, so I need this particular data set simply because if we're optimizing a game, we have to actually come here and look and say, what kind of hardware are people using? And we optimize for the lowest common denominator that the game can carry. Because the more people can play our game, the more likely they'll buy our game. So I don't see where developers are benefiting or will ever benefit from making their game not be able to run on hardware that is more available. When you look at the statistics, the percentages, and the trends, you can even see the trends. You can see, okay, what are people doing? More and more people are moving to Windows 11. The change is 3.36%. You can see that more people have 16 gigs of VRAM than not, but the next category that's in the highest class is 8 gigs. So, the next highest class is 32 gigs. So you're not really worried about VRAM. If your game is actually, demanding a lot of VRAM, then you want to stay within the, 16 and, 16 gig category. But 32, you don't need that because 30% of people are the only ones going to be able to run your game. And then if you don't get your game running at 8 gigs of VRAM, of RAM, you're going to negate about 10% of your player base. So using these stats and using these details, I find it very hard that people are not really aware of what's going on. So I recommend that those that are in the influence space have, the patience to go in and actually, listen to a lot of the technical experts. I remember I've been listening to Jay's 2 cents for almost 9 years now. That's insane. I've been watching his YouTube channel as well as other tech YouTubers kind of, figure out what it is that they know, work through their ideas and their expertise and their knowledge. Yet, after all these years, some people want to skip all of that and come make claims from an ignorant perspective. That's you trying to cheat or you trying to be a moron, and we're trying to stop you and say, no, don't be a moron. Actually get some skill. Don't be a noob. And all the information is right here and it's available for you. And you can see it from yourself. There are different paths that you can take and there's different benefits that you can gain. But at the end of the day, I think what this is just a lot of people pretty much not knowing, but want to, in a sense, justify their purchases. No one is attacking you. We are basically attacking the product as one that is inferior. I've also seen some people make some claims that, this is about people being broke. Dude, being broke is a factor of spending your money unwisely. If you didn't know that, Well, I'm glad that you're gonna learn today, because I saw that comment and I thought to myself, this is the most interesting thing that I've ever seen. In fact, I think I should show it to you guys. It's right here. This person said, I think their name is what's their name, Forever Gaming Rat or whatever it is. They said, whatever helps you brokies sleep, I'm buying it. This is what they said. Look at it up here. Whatever helps you brokies sleep at night, I'm buying it day one. And everybody had to come out there and tell them, like, a fool and their money are easily parted. Are you a fool? Is that what you are? You're not a fool. You're a smart person. You're a grown adult individual that can make very wise purchasing decisions. No one is saying if you still want to buy the PS5, you're a fool. You might have the money to spend. However, if you don't know what your money can get you and you keep spending it, then at the end of the day, it might not be the best decision for you. But, it may be the best decision for you. At least know the options and know what you're getting into when it comes down to exactly what it is that you might need from a gaming perspective. Thanks for watching this video. I really do appreciate you guys' time and audience. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.